Hello there everybody, it is me XFreezerBunny and welcome back to another Sims 4 speed building video. Today we're speed building a vacation home called the Coconut Lagoon. This speed build features the tropical Getaway mod by Simply Nando. So first off, I want to say a quick thank you to my good friend Nando for sending me an advanced copy of the mod, and also congratulations to Nando and to everybody who worked on the Tropical Getaway mod. It is amazing. I love it so much and you all did an amazing job. So you guys should definitely be proud of yourself, okay? So the Coconut Lagoon is a vacation home named after the huge swimming pool at the back of it. You guys will see me make it a little bit later on, but this home features a very nice swimming pool at the back that's kind of shaped like a lagoon, so I thought of calling it the Coconut Lagoon. This build is kind of a mix between modern and traditional, which is a style that's very common in my country actually, where I live here in the Philippines, and also pretty much the rest of Southeast Asia. I didn't go for any style in particular. I just went with things that I kind of recall from the top of my head. So basically, in all sense of the word, this build is a contemporary build, especially like the first couple of levels. Like the first two levels of it is really contemporary. There's no hint whatsoever of traditional in it. But as we go to the upper level, especially on the rooftop, we have one level that has like a thatched roof and also some tropical architecture details as well. So I actually kind of incorporated a mix of the two, and I actually really like how it looks. The style is called postmodern. It's the technical way to refer to a style of modern, like a response to modernism, where people kind of began to incorporate some traditional elements into modern architecture. That's why you guys will see that it's a really popular style actually, especially in the mid 20th century and even until now. So yeah, I had a lot of fun with this build actually. I felt like I needed to make like this type of builds because recently I've been making really enormous builds, and as much as I enjoy those, I definitely needed a little bit of a break. And I'm pretty sure you guys also noticed that I probably was getting a little bit overworked by some of the super ambitious builds that I've done. However, I wasn't able to stop myself from overdoing it in this build, and I might have overdone it slightly, especially with the interior, because the interior of this is working overtime. I'm so proud with how the interior actually turned out, but you guys will see it later on, and I think you guys already have a little bit of an idea as to how over the top this build is by the length of the video. I know it's almost an hour long. The speed build itself is exactly 50 minutes. I know, right? But there's a couple of minutes extra for the house tour and of course my intro and my outro as well. So yeah. Hopefully you guys don't mind the 50-minute video. I really didn't see a reason where I had to, divide this video into two parts. I really didn't feel like it was necessary. I felt like it was good to watch it in one go. And usually I don't make speed builds that are this long, but for this case, I felt like it was okay to extend it a little bit because it took me about 5 hours to finish this whole entire build from start to finish, which is a breeze compared to my previous couple of builds. My previous builds on the Wadston Manor took me 10 hours to build. So 5 hours is like nothing compared to that. Still though, I noticed that the proportions of the video, it's like 10 minutes per hour. I think that's the best way to compress it and to speed it up. So yeah. Anyway, you guys can see me struggle here with the facade. I wanted to put some color initially because that's kind of my style. I usually like to do something really graphic and really bold and really colorful and really bright. But in this case, I felt like that central kind of area over there with the boxes, I really, really wanted to put some color in them initially, but eventually I actually replaced that material with stone instead, because I felt like that was a better choice of material in my opinion. And also what I wanted to do in this build, I wanted it to feel like very relaxing and very zen-like. So there are going to be a lot of spa day items as well. At the end of the day, this is a vacation home. Tropical Getaway only works in Granite Falls, and it only makes over Granite Falls to look like a tropical world. So you really have to go on vacation in order to experience Granite Falls like that. You couldn't live in Granite Falls or anything. However, I do appreciate some aspects of Tropical Getaway, such as the brand new trait that they introduced. Really, really amazing. I was awestruck by the fact that they were able to incorporate that one trait there. Really, really awesome. You know, EA doesn't even give us new traits, and I'm really surprised that modders were able to figure that out. I'm really, really proud of them. So over here, we are finally deciding on the final material for that central boxy area. We are going to decide on a stone texture, which once again is a really, really popular choice of material as well in tropical countries. You know, I couldn't really say tropical countries as a whole, but definitely in the Philippines and probably in other parts of Southeast Asia as well. And speaking of Southeast Asia, I didn't go for any style in general. You would probably see this type of resort wherever you go in Southeast Asia, like Singapore, or actually Indonesia, or Malaysia, or Thailand, probably has very similar resort architecture to this one. In Southeast Asia, one common aspect for the local architecture is actually homes on stilts. So every time you see a house on stilts that's made of teak and bamboo and thatch, you're looking at something from Southeast Asia most likely. And also, I just really like how I was able to incorporate the modern aspect and also the vernacular architecture as well. Vernacular is a term that refers to a more regional type of anything. Actually, it doesn't necessarily mean architecture, but it's used a lot to refer to like native stuff and indigenous and local stuff. I'm using really big words. Hopefully you guys are still catching up to this. Anyway, I had so much fun putting these trellises over here. Once again, it feels really vernacular, and I really like that about it. It gives it that kind of countryside beach feel, which is perfect because I have been under so much stress recently that I need to go on a beach vacation, but I can't because I do not have time for it. And also, this home looks really big, and it is in fact really, really large. This vacation home has a total of 3 bedrooms and 3 bathrooms. It could sleep a total of 8 Sims comfortably, so that is good for a fully sized family actually. Really, really fun. And this home is also 3 levels, which is crazy. I kind of wanted to take it easy, but I just could not stop myself, honestly. I just had so much fun building this, and you guys can probably see that I just had fun with it. I didn't even pay attention to how much time it was taking me, and I really lost track of time. I did not realize how much time it was taking me to build this, especially like when it came to the furnishing. I did not realize it. But at the end of the day, I am giving you guys one-of-a-kind builds, and at this point, those are gonna take some time because a lot of people are doing the same thing on YouTube. You know, there's a huge community of builders out there, both on YouTube and on the gallery as well. And a lot of people are doing really, really similar stuff. So, you know, I just kind of focus on the quality of my builds and how much time and attention I put into it, because I think that's where I kind of excel at, if that makes any sense. You know, you guys will see that I do put a lot more time in my recent build as opposed to my previous builds, obviously, because my recent builds have been really, really crazy. So Yeah. And over here, there is a skylight, and there is a courtyard in the middle, actually. There is an enclosed courtyard, if you can call it that, which has some tropical foliage on it, actually. I've seen this done by Deligracy a really, really long time ago in one of her builds. I think it was like the teen hangout build or something. She did something like this, and I felt like that really, really made good use of the space. And that kind of that feature, having the palm trees on the inside, is really, really awesome. I love it. And it's one of my favorite rooms in the home, even though it doesn't really have that much furniture in it. It's really, really good, especially if you look up at the skylight. And I think the new lighting in the game is also really, really effective in actually, transmitting the light indoors from the outside. Like, these windows right here are perfect because they really let in a flood of light on the inside, and I really, really like that. That's what's great about tropical countries, is that most of the year we get beautiful sunlight, and it's very great to have natural light to light up the interior, because it just feels great to have sunlight and not artificial light. And also, it costs less as well. So, you can be a little bit more sustainable if you use natural lighting. And I will share you guys something with my experience in my quest for a degree in architecture. We do take a course in tropical design. I'm not sure if all courses in architecture do this, or if it's just here in the Philippines, or if it's in tropical countries. I'm assuming the tropical design course is just for tropical countries, because probably for you guys who live in Europe or in the States, you guys probably take like winter architecture, or architecture for snow or whatever. But for us, we take tropical design as a required course that we need to pass, of course. And I actually took mine a really, really long time ago. I took it about 2 years ago, and I must say that if my professor saw this, I think he'd be really proud, if I do say so myself. But yeah, like I said, natural lighting is one of the things that really, really are effective in tropical design, and also natural ventilation as well. But ventilation, it's not really a consideration in The Sims. It's much more of a consideration in real life though, so yeah. Anyway, the interior is filled with clutter, as you guys can see. I just went with it, and I actually realized that we have some really, really awesome new items. I've been building a lot of themed builds recently, like historical themed builds and stuff like that. I really didn't get to check all the new items that came with, like all the new game packs and stuff packs and stuff like that. But now, this build is more of a contemporary, contemporary postmodern design. I was able to incorporate a mix of modern and traditional looking items. So I think it's a great way to show how personal this space became because of all the clutter. You can really feel like people have lived in it, and people value this place as a retreat for the summer or for the winter, wherever they want to go on vacation. And I think it actually turned out really well. I love this dining room. Once again, it's one of my favorite rooms in the home. I feel like it's especially unique because of this hanging chandelier, if you can call it a chandelier. It is a drop light that is really, really low, but I think that's a great consideration when designing dining rooms, is that usually most of the time when people are using the dining room, they are seating or they are seated down. So it's good to have really, really low lights, because I think that just makes it a little bit more, that just gives the space a little bit more of a human scale, which is really, really awesome. And right now we're working on the kitchen, and this, I probably just realized this now, but definitely my favorite kitchen set in The Sims 4 is like the one that came with Cool Kitchen. And a close second is the Gothic Barnyard or something. Yeah, it's the base game set that's kind of called like a gothic barnyard or something like that. I don't know. But yeah, those are my two favorite sets for just interior kitchens. And I think they really, really work well. And I'm really, really happy with what I was able to make here. I think the kitchen is really nice and spacious, and it has really big windows as well. I would love to cook here, and yes, I do cook for myself. So usually I'm just facing a wall of cabinets and a sink when I'm cooking. So getting the opportunity to cook in like a kitchen like this would be a dream come true for anyone. Honestly, if I had the choice to live here, I would probably live here, to be honest with you guys. This would be an amazing place to live in. Once again, piling up all the clutter. I love those lemon jar or whatever. What is that? Lemon. Yeah, I love those lemons that came with backyard stuff. Yeah, really, really cool. Once again, throwing in a bunch of cool kitchen stuff. And yeah, it's actually turning out really, really well. I used a lot of wood. It's really, really difficult to match up all the wood in the game. But recently I realized how I no longer obsess about mixing and matching all my colors. If I did this build probably like a year ago, I would probably die if all the woodwork didn't match. But right now, I changed. I like to think that I changed for the better. So even though much of the woodwork no longer matches, I still approve because, I've grown as a person. Can I say that? Yeah, I have become a little bit more forgiving about the lack of creative style in The Sims 4, and I honestly hope that Maxis or EA would learn from their misgivings in The Sims 4 and make The Sims 5 just absolutely amazing, because I'm looking forward to The Sims 5 already. So right now we are working on the reception area. Actually, there is a more actual living room in the upper floor. On the second level, there's a more family kind of living room. This is more of the formal reception area. If you have guests that aren't staying that long, if they're just staying over for dinner or for lunch or for whatever, you can just, sit here while waiting for the food to be served at the dining room and stuff like that. So initially I did put a really, really large drop chandelier, but I felt like it was a little bit too low for the living room. So I did remove it actually eventually from the living room. I kept the one in the dining room because I felt like it was just right. The height of it was just right. So yeah. Also, the kitchen has a nice little bar area, which is a nice kind of S-shaped, which I also really like. I think it's the first time that I'm doing that actually. So really, really awesome. The bar area in the kitchen is where I imagine the more casual dining would happen, and then the dining room across the courtyard is probably where the more formal dining room would happen. If you're entertaining guests and things like that, that's probably where it would happen. And there's also an entertainment space on the topmost level of this build. The third floor is mostly for entertainment. There's gonna be a bar and lots of other fun stuff as well. This cute little corner over here leads to a guest bathroom, and I actually didn't know what to put here, so I did put some luggage instead because I felt like it was a great spot to put your luggage, because this is a vacation home after all. So usually you can have usually people put their luggage in the bedroom, right? Or I don't know, some really posh people probably have a special place to put it. When we're staying at a hotel, we just leave it in the bedroom and it clutters the space. So since this is a little bit more of a posh establishment, I felt like having a space for the luggage would kind of make sense. And also I'm struggling here trying to incorporate a stereo, as you guys just saw there, but eventually I will be able to add a stereo on the second and third levels, I believe, so watch out for that. And I also tried the height of this build, I threw in like a palm tree in the courtyard. You guys probably saw a glimpse of it really quickly there. I just was testing the height of it, and then I realized that this build was too low. Thankfully, I was able to adjust the height of the foundation to accommodate the height of the palm tree. So there's no problem there. I really do appreciate it actually in The Sims 4. They did make it a lot easier for us to to build stuff. So, kudos for them for that hindsight, I guess. I love how we're able to drag walls and also drag the height of the foundations. I really do appreciate it. And also, I love how we can change the placement of the lots as well. We can do it very easily. And in The Sims 3, it would be a nightmare because if you made a mistake, you would have to delete and destroy everything. So yeah, one thing that I love about The Sims 4. And then let's see here, what am I doing? Still modifying everything. You guys will see that probably this build took so much time, honestly, because I kept changing my mind and I would not stop until everything is perfect. So even if I have to change stuff from the outside, I will, because if you're not satisfied with it, don't go with it. People sometimes settle for, the mediocre things in life. And if you're not just into it, don't be afraid to change it up or to replace it, because that's just part of the design process. You're always allowed to change your mind. And if you don't change your mind, then you're doing yourself a disservice, because you're preventing things that would probably be amazing. You're preventing those things from happening. So yeah, anyway, we are working on the 2 bedrooms that are located on this level, and I did something really interesting here with the bedrooms actually. All the bedrooms have double beds. This bedroom in particular is really long, so I managed to fit in 2 double beds in this bedroom, and it actually turned out really amazing. I love that. I probably should do that more often, but the 2 double beds really feel like a hotel, doesn't it? Like this whole layout of the bedroom really feels so much like a hotel, and I actually kind of really like it. A lot of people probably not like how it looks like a hotel, but for me, I like it because it's different from what we're used to, and it looks really cool as well. So yeah, and all the beds as well are the same. There are a total of 4 beds in this home, and all of them are the same. They're just a different color. I think those are the nicest modern beds that we have. Some of the modern beds that we have are just kind of overly designed, and I think that's the perfect word to describe it. They're just overly designed. Like, they don't need to look futuristic, because modern can be very simple and sleek and, clean lines and streamlined, but I don't know how they have to over design all the other random things. I don't know. Anyway, so yeah, once again, it's just copying all the different items. Oh yeah, I threw in a nice little juice pitcher over there that came with backyard stuff as well, and I placed a lot of those actually. One of my favorite items from backyard stuff is the juice pitcher, and it's not even a premium content or whatever, but for me it just adds a lot more personality to the game, and I really like that item. So I did throw in maybe 5 of those, or maybe even more, all over the place, so that the Sims don't overheat when they're needing stuff. When they need to drink, they always have a juice pitcher in reach, so that it'll be, handy and practical for them to grab a drink. And also, we have these nice little lounge chairs. I miss the lounge chairs. I remember having lounge chairs in The Sims 2 and The Sims 3. I'm not sure if we had them in The Sims 1, but lounge chairs, I really want them back. I want recliners. We need them. So I don't know how that's gonna work, but I don't think that's gonna happen. Or I don't know, maybe it's gonna come as a premium content or something. I really don't know. Am I the only one who misses the recliners? I don't know. So yeah. Anyway, random random stories that I tell. It's really hard to do commentaries on like a 50-minute video. Like, I was playing PS4 before recording this, and I was just so intimidated by the length of my commentary for this video. But it has to happen, and I don't want to leave you guys with just music in the background, because honestly, no shade to anyone who throws music in the background, but I get bored listening to music. I usually watch speed builds to listen to the person who's doing the build, because I want to hear their insight. I want to hear their, ideas and how they were able to come up with their design. And that just doesn't happen, if you have music in the background. At the end of the day, it's each person's choice, but for me, I prefer listening to people's commentaries. But like I said, really depends. There's no particular way, there's no right or wrong way of doing it anyway. So, since we're getting into the brunt of making videos, I actually had a really, really difficult decision. I was struggling because I know that a lot of you guys have some issues with watching really, really long videos. And that was a big struggle for me in making this build, because when I realized that this build was gonna be 50 minutes long, I was just like, oh my gosh, a lot of people are not gonna like it. A lot of people are gonna let me know that they are not amused. So I thought about, editing parts out, or, fast forwarding the video really, really fast. But I decided against all of those thoughts, because at the end of the day, I'm just doing what I feel like is right for the video. I don't feel like it's right to make it into multiple parts. And I also don't feel like it's right to edit out parts of the build, because a lot of you guys watch these videos to learn something. And as much as possible, I try to keep in everything. So, I had a difficult decision to just make a 50-minute video and just, take in all the negative comments about how long it is and stuff like that. I'll take it like a trooper, because I will commit and I am sticking with my decision, and I don't regret it at all. It's the whole video from start to finish, and, a lot of people would probably edit some parts of it out, but I personally just don't do that. So yeah, that's just the way I do things. And I want to hear what you guys think about it, actually. Let me know about your guys' opinions in the comments below. I really, really take in your guys' comments really, really seriously. And I might not reply to all comments, but I do read all the comments, and it's fun, I love reading your guys' thoughts, and also I learn a lot from you guys as well. So if you guys are, if you guys have any suggestions, and if you guys have any ideas, you guys can feel free to comment below regarding anything, actually, nothing specific there. So anything that you want, and anything that you feel like can, use some improvement as well. Okay. Feel free to let me know. Just do it politely, please, because sometimes people just are very arrogant, and I can be very arrogant as well. I will not have any second thoughts of defending myself if people can feel like they are, they can bully me online, even though I'm not gonna let that happen to me. So yeah. Oh yeah, also I forgot to let you guys know that this build does not require the Tropical Getaway mod, okay? That's another really tough decision, because as much as possible I would like to promote the Tropical Getaway mod, but at the end of the day, I feel like more people can download this home and this build without the mod. So no, you don't need to have the mod for this to work. However, it is highly recommended that you get the mod, because this build was made to go with a mod, and it works best if you have the mod installed. But once again, it's not required. You guys can download this if you have all the expansion packs and all the stuff packs, as well as the base game only. No custom content whatsoever, okay? because the mod did come with some great content, and some of the trees were actually replaced. I didn't have any options to put palm trees that belong, to the base game and, don't necessarily require a mod. Unfortunately, the Tropical Getaway mod requires all the palm trees to be modded. So you guys will see me actually a little bit later on when we do the landscaping that I will actually transfer into a non-modded version of my game to finish off the builds with the landscaping. That's why I'm saving the landscaping for last, because I will save the mod for, I will save the landscaping for my version of the game that doesn't use the Tropical Getaway mod, just so I can use the palm trees and the tropical plants that are not modded, so that I could package this lot without the use of any mods. Yeah, hopefully you guys got that. That was a really complicated situation to explain. So yeah, also I spent so much time getting these bathrooms to work properly. Like, I was not satisfied with the design at all. I was just like, I just was not feeling it. And you guys know, if I'm not satisfied, I won't go with it, even though it takes me 1,000,000 hours to finish. If it doesn't work for me, I will not go with it. So unfortunately, I spent like a couple of minutes figuring out the right layout for these toilets, and also figuring out the right decoration as well. Yeah. Actually, in the end, you guys will see me place in a lot of curtains and stuff, but in the end, I will take away all of the curtains in the home, because the curtains do some weird stuff with like the new lighting mod. Like, the curtains are not affected by the lighting mod, and they don't also, like, I don't know, they just look really weird for me. I feel like that's kind of like a glitch or something. So I did remove the curtains in the end, but I will do something on the outside to make sure that there are some privacy, especially for the toilets. Yes, I did consider that this time. Usually when it comes to toilets and privacy, I just don't really care, because the Sims don't really care. But this time I just went with it and went the extra effort to actually really reconfigure the outside so that the toilets would have some sort of privacy actually. So yeah. And then over here we are just throwing in some replacement lights. I used these, I don't know what those are called, those oriental kind of folding paper lamps. Looks really, really beautiful. Great light, and I think it goes well with the oriental Southeast Asian style that I was going for. And there we go. We are now manipulating the outside so that we can have a little bit more privacy with the bathrooms. And what I did is I actually added louvers. These shelves over here that are placed on the windows are, the technical term for them in architecture is louvers, and what they do is actually they stop the light flooding into the interior. They limit the amount of light that enters the interior so that it doesn't get too intense. So, that's actually louvers are a characteristic of modern architecture. They are a very practical way to, have natural lighting, but also stop it from overly flooding the interior, as I mentioned earlier. So yeah. Anyway, right now we are decorating the actual living room on the second level. I really, really like this space. This is a more casual living room. This is probably where the family would hang out at night, or something, play games or watch TV and stuff like that. It is located right next to their bedrooms as well, which is a great location for me. Plus, the second floor has great views of the tropical makeover of Granite Falls. So, it's really, really awesome, if I do say so myself. I actually used a lot of whites as well for the furniture. Most of the sofas are white. Some of them have iron accents, some of them have wooden accents as well, but I don't know, I just really, really like how they look. I think the contrast of the really, really bright white and the dark woods is amazing, and it looks really awesome, and I'm really happy with it. Another kind of feature that is consistent all throughout the rest of the house are these paintings. Actually, I don't recall which stuff pack or game pack these paintings came with, but it's a painting to the right, as you guys can see. It's that one, the leafy one. I'm not really sure what stuff pack that came with or game pack, but those paintings I used all throughout the house. And basically what I did is that, the painting is the exact same painting, but it's in different colors. So, some of it really changes depending on which room it's placed in. So yeah, I kind of had a story in mind where the owners knew the artist of those paintings, and he has a collection of these paintings, and he has like a couple of them in his gallery, and the owners saw that, okay, I have a couple of spare walls in my home. Why don't I use some of your paintings to decorate my walls? And the owner gets like the collection of paintings, and he uses them to decorate the walls. And also another consistent kind of theme with the paintings is I used some jazz paintings. Actually, there's a couple of jazz themed paintings over here as well, which is quite fun. I felt like that added a little bit more of a traditional sense to this really, really modern build. And there's a lot of really traditional clutter as well. You can see some china cabinets and some, like I said, jazz paintings, and some of these tables as well look like they might be antiques. And yeah, earlier you guys probably saw that I was finally successfully able to incorporate a stereo. I used the dining table because it was so difficult to find a surface for the for the stereo, but I was able to find a surface for it, and I used the dining table to place it on top of. And right now we are working on the third level, which I mentioned earlier that the third level is more of like an entertainment space. This space is basically very, very restricted for adults only as much as possible. There is a bar, and this is probably where the adults would hang out and do adult stuff like, drink some alcohol or, just, go skinny dipping because there is a hot tub over there. And let's see here. Yeah. What else? There's also like some exercise equipment, not really gym equipment. It's just wellness skill building stuff like, some yoga mats, and also like a Zen chair. What's it called? Like that chair thing? I forgot, but it's that. You guys know what I'm talking about. So yeah, the bar over here actually required me to actually enlarge the room a little bit. And did you guys just see how the light floods in from those huge windows on that one side of the wall? It's so beautiful, right? Like, so gorgeous. And yeah, look at that. That is beautiful. Holy crap. And once again, throwing in a million different clutter items. I think this build is so long because I just threw in so much clutter all over the place. So yeah. And I also fell in love with this lamp as well. I believe it came with backyard stuff. And yeah, I fell in love with it. I used it all the time. That's the main lampshade that I used. So that's really, really awesome. And once again, threw in a nice little stereo right there. I love having stereos because I usually forget to add stereos in my homes and in my builds. But I felt like they were a great addition here, especially like, for throwing parties and stuff like that. Yeah. And there is a nice little sitting area over here. Nothing too crazy. If the bar area is full, maybe the people who want to have a drink, but they don't have a chair at the bar, they can sit here and they could probably even make out. Can Sims make out in the love seat though? Cause honestly, that was one of the raunchiest things that you can do in The Sims 3 and in The Sims 2. You can make out in the love seat, and it looked really hot. Like, yeah, it looked really hot. Like, it looked hotter than Woohooing, because in Woohoo, you're underneath the sheets, and the sheets are just like, a blob of mesh. But when they're making out in the love seat, you can see everything, and it's crazy. Like, some of the Sims are humping each, like, okay, let's keep it PG. let's keep it PG. But let me just talk about this room a little bit because it's not the most PG room ever. This room over here is an extra bedroom, and as you guys can see, it's not designed to be a room where people would actually sleep in. It's more of an entertaining bedroom. You know, if you have guests, they would probably stay here, and if some of the Sims at the bar have a little bit too much to drink and they would wanna woohoo with other people, they will probably have to do it here so that they don't disturb the kids and they will have as much privacy as they can in this home, because this is the one bedroom that has the most privacy in the entire house. And yeah, to have that kind of ambience, I threw in like a lot of candles and stuff like that just to have that romantic, you know, aspect and kind of motivate the Sims to do whatever they want, to procreate or whatever. Am I allowed to say that? Is that too much information? Honestly, that's what I was thinking when I was designing this bedroom, so I'm just sharing it with you guys. Okay, so over here we have a nice little sitting area. Nothing too crazy. It was a large balcony, but I felt like once again it could be an extension of like the bar area. If there's too much people sitting inside, maybe some people could sit here outside and grab some juice, and also probably even, you know, catch a smoke. I'm talking about in real life. Not some of the interactions that I mentioned are intended for real life, not necessarily for, you know, in the Sims, because they probably don't exist in the Sims, like smoking, for example. You know, this upper level is perfect for people who need to take a second to, you know, have a smoke. And, you know, like, I don't know why I'm thinking of smoking, but I don't smoke, so yeah. Oh my gosh, like, I do not know what I'm talking about. But right now we are working on that Zen area. That is a really private balcony. You have to go through the doors from the bedroom to get there. And it has like a nice little Zen chair and also some nice little extra details as well. Very personalized actually, because I feel like I am designing this for people who are very self-conscious when it comes to their health. So definitely I did throw in a lot of like health, you know, regimental stuff, and I don't know. And right here we are working on another large balcony, and this balcony is where we actually have the, you know, the hot tub where the Sims can skinny dip in. Yeah. And this is a nice little detail actually that I incorporated here for the first time. I thought about throwing in some towels actually for the Sims who are using the hot tub, as well as some extra clutter as well, because I feel like usually I just neglect the hot tub in general. So I feel like giving extra effort to the space where the hot tub is feels great. And then over here, we have the largest balcony in the house, and this is where the Sims would go to sunbathe. And as you guys can see, there are there's a bunch of lounge chairs and stuff over there. And also we have this huge empty wall. So what I did is that I threw in some ivy over there, just to give it some detail. And also some, once again, that one like, juice pitcher. So yeah, I really like that item. Like one of my favorite things that came with the backyard stuff. So, and then right here we're working on the ground level porch area, and this is just a really kind of generic space where Sims can receive guests and you know, just indulge in some casual conversation while waiting for things to happen, I guess, you know. Just, you know, relaxing their worries away is what I meant for this area. And there's also like a nice little dining area as well. So, you know, I did throw in like a barbecue area in the corner over there, because I felt like you definitely need to have a barbecue area. But is it just me, or does this area totally feel like a hotel lobby? It really feels like a hotel lobby. So yeah, anyway, you guys will see me use or probably overused these palm trees. Actually, I use these palm trees a lot, and they are amazing for filling up the space, and they look really, really tropical as well. So, yeah. Anyway, Anyway, we are now working on the barbecue area. Nothing too crazy. I believe the barbecue came with outdoor living. Yeah, I think it came with outdoor living, and it looked really good. And yeah, really nothing too crazy about that. I wanted to put a rug here, but none of the rugs looked good at night. It felt like that was kind of a glitch. And yeah, it was actually, I just went with it because I felt like that area needed a rug. And right now we are working on the swimming pool, and I really had a lot of difficulty getting the swimming pool to look right, because I wanted it to look as organic as possible. I wanted it to look almost like an amoeba, but of course that's impossible for The Sims 4 because we're stuck with 45-degree angle at best and 90-degree angle at the most basic. So yeah, I think there's the pool shape. It's actually turned out really good. I did put a lot of effort in that, as you guys just saw, and it looks really, really awesome as well. And at this point, we have now transferred to the non-modded version of my game. So right now we are working on the landscaping, and most of the landscaping is done in actually a version of the game that doesn't have the tropical getaway. Just because, as mentioned earlier, most of the palm trees require tropical getaway. So yeah, it was really, really tough decision. But in the end, I just decided to do it without the mods in the game, because I felt like that would be a little bit better for people who want to download this without the mod. So also, I have a little bit of a confession to make with you guys here. So the landscaping, actually, you guys will see the entire part of the landscaping. However, I really wasn't satisfied with the landscaping, so I will redo the landscaping actually, and none of it will be seen here. It's basically exactly the same. I just changed the position of the plants, and I also added some plants as well, but the pathways are exactly the same. I honestly just deleted the trees and just replaced them in a different position. Unfortunately, I realized that after doing the recording for the landscaping, and I just didn't feel like I needed to record it. So yeah, cause you guys will see me like do the landscaping twice. Yeah, cause I literally did it twice. Cause I really wasn't satisfied with how this landscaping turned out. Now that I'm looking at it, it looks very okay, but I just was not satisfied with how it looks. So I will edit it up a little bit, just a little bit. I will switch out like some of the plants here and there, and I will remove those orange and yellow flowers and replace them with something that looks a little bit more tropical as well. So I apologize for not including that part in this because I just did not record it anymore. But I mean, you guys can still see me do the landscaping, right? Even though it's not the best landscaping, I still just kept it in rather than have a video that doesn't have any landscaping. And I am so guilty because, you know, I always mention that I do not want to edit things out, but, you know, the video is still complete as it is anyway. You know, it has landscaping in it. It just doesn't have the final landscaping because, as mentioned earlier, I will edit it a little bit, okay? So right now we are working on the front, and there is a fountain over here that's actually slightly hidden behind some bushes and some rocks as well. And there's also like these water jet emitters, which I actually really, really like the sound of them. If you guys actually listen to your game, because sometimes people play with music on, but if you listen to your game, these jet emitters sound amazing, and they are pretty awesome, if I do say so myself. Throwing in some lights over here to illuminate our landscaping that I am going to replace in, you know, off camera. But yeah. And let's see here. I will remember to throw in a garbage bin. Yay! There you go. And also, mailbox as well, which is, I think this is the first time that I'm using that modern mailbox over there. And one more thing that I'm going to do is to add some lights to the pool, because I felt like the lights are a little bit lacking in the swimming pool, but I used these beautiful circular lights, and they illuminate the pool very, very beautifully. And I think it's actually turned out really well. I hope you guys don't hate me for placing the landscaping, but it looks like that is going to be it for the speed build part of the video. Let's go ahead and not end this yet, because we are still gonna decorate the bathroom, which I also forgot, but I decided to add it here anyway. I forgot that there is an extra bathroom on the ground level that we still need to decorate. So sorry about this, you guys. I'm all over the place, but yeah, we still need to decorate this bathroom, and the decoration for this bathroom is exactly this, you know, all the items that I use are exactly the same as the ones on the other bathrooms. The only difference is that it has a slightly different layout, but yeah. It actually turned out looking really nice. I'm really, really proud of how all the bathrooms turned out. And each bathroom is unique and each one is special in their own way. And I would love to actually, you know, take a bath in one of those bathrooms. And we're finally decorating the courtyard area with some foliage. And I really, really like that area. It doesn't have any furniture at all. It just has some lights and that's it. And there's also like this quiet little corner over here that has the only computer in the home, and I thought that was a nice little addition in case the Sims needed to use the computer for whatever they might want. But it looks like this is finally the end of the speed builds. So yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed yourself. Let's go ahead and cut into the floor plans where you guys can see all the 3 levels of the home, and hopefully you guys enjoy the speed build as much as I had fun speed building it for you guys, okay? So, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap up my commentary right here. Once again, please don't forget to hit that like, favorite, and subscribe button if you guys had fun watching this video, because it really does help out the channel a lot, okay? You all have an awesome, awesome, awesome day. Thank you guys so much for watching. Enjoy the rest of the video, and I will see you guys next time. Bye bye!